Konmuyor no?
under which
Open हुआ.
Hello there. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. This is a very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Come and join me live today. All you people out there, what are you people waiting for? Don't be chicken. Don't get apprehensive. Don't panic. Come and get connected with me live today. Let's have a friendly confabulation and conversation for the next an hour. This is a very own KMD unit from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. I'd like to talk about the greetings here. So the first greeting is good morning. I never ever say good morning. I never treat them as two different words. I always treat them as one single word. And when it comes to pronunciation, I never pronounce them as two different words. I try to pronounce them as one single word. Here is a pronunciation. It's not good morning, because I never treat them as two different words. I treat them as a single word, and the correct pronunciation is good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to one and all. Good morning to every magic of you. Good morning to all and sundry. Yes, you heard me correct. I never ever say good morning. I always try to avoid the G in the spelling of morning. M-O-R-N-I-N-G is the correct spelling of the word morning. But I never ever say good morning. I try to avoid the last sound here of G. I always try to say morning, 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 morning. Good morning. Good morning to one and all. Good morning to every man, Jacob, you. Good morning to all and sundry. I'm talking about the second greeting of the day. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon to every man, Jacob, you. Good afternoon to all and sundry. Well, I'm talking about the next greeting of the day. Good evening. Good evening to every man, Jacob, you. Good evening to all and sundry. Good evening to one and all. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my domain. This is a very own professional spoken English trainer from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Come on, all you people out there, what are you waiting for? Come and join me live today. I am KMD, and I'm your spoken English trainer. Come and join me in large number so that we can have friendly confabulation conversation for the next an hour. Hello, hello, hello. Come and join me. Here is my simple question. I want you people to answer the simple question of mine. How are you doing today? Well, the question is, how are you doing today? How are you doing today? And the answer is, I'm doing pretty well. Thank you very much. What about you? If you wish to get connected with me online, if you wish to get connected with me on YouTube, if you wish to get connected with me live today, you need to answer the simple question of mine. How are you doing today? And the answer is, I'm doing pretty well, thank you very much. What about you? I wanted people to type this right away, send it and get connected with me live today. And I promise you that you're going to have wonderful time ahead. Come on, all you people out there, what are you waiting for? Thank you very much. This is your very own KMD Eunice from Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. How are you people doing today? It's Friday today. How are you people doing today? I am doing well, thank you very much. What about you? Is the answer? All the people out there, I want you to type this answer and send it to me and get connected with me live today. Let's have friendly conversation for the next an hour. Come on. Don't be chicken. Don't get apprehensive. Thank you very much. Hello. Good evening to one and all. Thank you very much for joining me live today. Have you had a breakfast? Or I'm talking about the first meal of the day. Have you had a breakfast? All you people out there, were you all ears? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me with rapt attention? How do you pronounce this word? Well, for your confirmation, it's not breakfast. It's breakfast. Have you had a breakfast? I'm talking about the first meal of the day. Answer my question. Have you had a breakfast? I'm talking about the first meal of the day. Yes, sir, I have had. No, sir, I haven't had. I'm talking about the second meal of the day. Have you had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had. No, sir, I haven't had. And I'm talking about the third meal of the day, supper. S-U-P-P-E-R. Have you had your supper? Yes, sir, I have had. No, sir, I haven't had my supper. As far as supper is concerned, as far as the third meal of the day is concerned, I guess it's too early to have supper. Well, it's too early to have supper. What exactly is the time right now? It's 20 minutes past 7 o'clock, 25 minutes past 7 o'clock, and I guess it's too early to have supper. I have my supper somewhere around at 8:30. I have my supper 30 minutes past 8 o'clock. So question number one talks about breakfast, which happens to be the first meal of the day. Have you had your breakfast? Have you had your lunch? And have you had your supper? Yes, sir, I have had my breakfast. No, sir, I haven't had my breakfast. Yes, sir, I have had my lunch. No, sir, I haven't had my lunch. Yes, sir, I have had my supper. No, sir, I haven't had my supper. Hello. Good evening to every magic of you. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Have you had your breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? Well, if you talk about all these three questions in detail, now if you go into the detail, you'll discover one thing, that all these three questions are based upon present perfect tense. Yes, you heard me correct. Yes, you heard me right. I am talking about present perfect tense here. My first question, my second question, my third question, my first question about breakfast, my second question about lunch, and my third question about supper. All these three questions are based upon present perfect tense. Have you had? Well, let me tell you one thing. That we people find it really very hard. We find it really very hard to use have and had on the same question. Have you had your breakfast? Many of us raise their eyebrows. Many of us will have an objection raised here. Is it right on my part? Is it grammatically correct to use have and had on the same question? Well, the answer is yes, it's grammatically correct. There's absolutely nothing wrong about it. Have you had your breakfast? Is grammatically correct. Remember, have and has, these two helping verbs They always go with third form of verb. They always go with past participle. Have is the first form of verb. Had is the second form of verb. Had is the third form of verb. Have is present. Had is past. And had is past participle. And according to grammar, I need to go with third form of verb. I need to go with past participle. I need to go with three form of verb with have and has. Have you had your breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? Come on, all you people out there. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Come and join me live today. Come and join me in large number so that we can have some sort of friendly conversation and learn to speak grammatically correct English. If you have the burning desire, hidden deep in your heart to become an impeccable speaker of English language, this is the right platform. You're in the right platform. Come and get connected with me in large number. Come on, all you people out there, how are you doing today? And the answer is I'm doing pretty well. Thank you very much. What about you? My second question is, have you had your lunch? I'm talking about the second meal of the day. Well, I'm not talking about the first meal of the day. I'm not talking about breakfast. I'm talking about lunch. Have you had your lunch? Yes, sir, I have had. No, sir, I haven't had. Well, I'm not talking about the third meal of the day. Have you had your supper? I know it's too early to have supper. It's too early to have supper. It's 25 minutes past 7 o'clock. It's too early to have supper. Come on, all you people out there, come and join me in large number. This is the very own KMD Eunice. Well, in my earlier live session, remember, talking about this concept, and I would like to run that concept by you again. How do you people introduce yourself around? Yes, you heard me correct. How do you people introduce yourself around? Well, some of us say, my name is KMD Eunice. And some of us say, I am KMD Eunice. And some of us say, this is KMD Eunice. And some of us say, it's KMD Eunice. And some of us say, myself, KMD Eunice. Now, if I talk about the first sentence, my name is KMD Eunice, well, I have no objection to raise here. Now, if we talk about the second option, I'm going with here, I am KMD Eunice, I have no objection to raise here. Now, if we talk about the third option, this is KMD Eunice and it's KMD Eunice, I have no objection to raise here. You could use them to some extent. But I have an objection to raise as far as the fifth option is concerned here. It's grammatically wrong in my part to say myself, KMD Eunice. Remember, all you people out there, are you all ears? Or are you listening to me? It's grammatically incorrect. It's grammatically wrong on my part, on your part, to say something like this. It's not a mistake. It's not a blunder. It's a Himalayan blunder. Never ever say myself, KMD Eunice. Because myself is a reflexive pronoun, and we never use reflexive pronoun in the place of the subject. We never use reflexive pronoun in the beginning of our sentence. Myself, KMD Eunice, absolutely wrong. Grammatically wrong. Thank you very much, Tammy, and thank you very much, Salim, for joining me live today. I really appreciate it joining me. Thank you very much. Good evening to you too. Thank you very much. Good to see you live. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your compliment. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it joining me live today. I really appreciate your compliment. Thank you very much. Well, going back to the point here, it's absolutely wrong on my part to say myself, KMD Eunice. I want you people not to do this mistake of saying myself, KMD Eunice, or myself, Ravi, or myself, Ronnie, myself, Rakesh, because it's absolutely wrong. It's not a mistake, it's not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder, a serious mistake. In my today's live session, remember, talking about this idiomatic sentence, Himalayan blunder. What does Himalayan blunder mean? Himalayan blunder means a serious mistake, a grave mistake, and remember giving a couple of examples related to it. Accepting the partition of India in 1947 was a Himalayan blunder. Accepting the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh was a Himalayan blunder. Skipping a breakfast is not a mistake, not a blunder. It's a Himalayan blunder. It's a serious mistake. It's a grave mistake. And using reflexive pronouns in the place of subject at the beginning of your sentence is not a mistake, not a blunder. It's a Himalayan blunder. So never ever do the mistake of using myself. It's wrong in a part say myself came to Eunice. Never ever do this mistake. Thank you very much. Well, I'm joined by Beauty of Kernel City. Thank you very much, Haris Bukhari, for joining me live today. I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you very much. How are you doing today, sir? How are you doing today, Haris Bukhari? The answer is I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. What about you? Haris Bukhari, I want you to type this message right away and send it to me so that you get connected live today and we could have some sort of conversation. How are you doing today? And the answer is I am doing pretty well. Thank you very much. What about you? Hello, good evening. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Well, I'm talking about this concept in detail here, and I'm telling you people that it's not a mistake, not a blunder. It's a Himalayan blunder to use myself in the place of a subject, because reflexive pronouns can't be subjects at any cost. So never ever do the mistake of saying myself came to Eunice, because it's grammatically incorrect, grammatically wrong. It's not a mistake, it's not a blunder, it's a Himalayan blunder. Say no to it. Say no to myself came to Eunice. Say no to reflexive pronouns using as subject of a sentence. So there's nothing wrong in it. And if you have the habit of saying I am came to Eunice, this is came to Eunice, my name is came to Eunice, it's came to Eunice. Well, I have no objections to raise here. But I do have an objection to raise when it comes to the fifth option, myself came to Eunice. Never ever do that mistake. Well, I suppose I got the message from Beauty of Kernel City. He says, I'm doing pretty well today, sir. I'm doing pretty well by the grace of God Almighty. Wow, that sounds really very good, Haris Bukhari. Well, I'm joined by Beauty of Kernel City, Haris Bukhari, who happens to be the man behind the channel. He's the one who runs the channel, Beauty of Kernel City. And he happens to be one of my spoken English students, one of my old students, one of my spoken English students, and he's the man behind my channel as well. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon to every man. Good evening to every man check of you. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? And have you had your supper? Yes, sir, I have had my lunch. No, sir, I haven't had my lunch. Have you had your supper? Well, it's 30 minutes past 7 o'clock, and I personally believe that it's too early to have your supper. I'm going back to Beauty of Kernel City. I'm going back to Haris Bukhari, and I want Haris to answer the simple question of mine. Have you observed Sabbath today? Oh, well, I'm sorry. It's not Friday today. It's Saturday today. I'm sorry. I'm real very sorry. Well, I'm going back to Beauty of Kernel City, and I want Haris Bukhari to answer the simple question of mine. Have you had your lunch? And here is the answer. Yes, sir, I have had. I have had. No, sir, I haven't had. Thank you very much, Salim, and thank you very much, Danny, and thank you very much, Beauty of Kernel City, for joining me live today. Thank you. I really appreciate you joining me live today. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening to every man, check of you. Good evening to all and sundry. And good evening to one and all. Welcome to Learn English with KMD, a platform where learning English and speaking English is made much easier. Well, I'm talking about, have you had a breakfast? Have you had your lunch? Have you had your supper? And I'm telling you people that all those three questions are based upon present perfect tense. Yes, you heard me correct. Present perfect tense. And here is a formula. Now, I want you to use past participle. I want you to use third form of verb. I want you to use with three form of verb with have and has. Here are a couple of questions, and I want you people to practice them in your day-to-day English. Question number one, have you understood? Remember, understand is the first form of verb, understood is the second form of verb, and understood is the third form of verb, and I'm not using second and first form of verb here. I'm going with third form of verb. I'm using third form of verb here. Have you understood? Yes, sir, I have understood. No, sir, I haven't understood. Have you got my point? Remember, get is the first form of verb, got is the second form of verb, and if you are following some sort of old grammar book, you also find gotten. Get, got, gotten. Forget, forgot, forgotten. Have you got my point? Yes, sir, I have got your point. No, sir, I haven't got your. Have you had a breakfast? Have you had your supper? Welcome to Learn English with KMD. Well, it's time for me to call it a day, but with the promise that we shall meet again tomorrow. The same channel, the same place. Come and join me in large number. Thank you very much, all you people out there, for joining me live today. Really appreciate it joining. Thank you very much. With that, it's time for me to call it today. Thank you very much.